ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be? For me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Monday Night Football Overtime. Rams hosting the hapless Dolphins, and they couldn't get it done. What a terrible game this was to watch. My goodness. The Rams are one of those teams that are sort of an enigma. And I can't say that I didn't see this happening. The Dolphins have been playing better of late. Should have beat the Arizona Cardinals at home. Easily could have beaten Buffalo last week, but that's not what they do. But they'd been playing better. You could see that they were kind of getting close. And although the Rams won last week, I didn't think they deserved to beat Seattle last week, to be honest with you. And so they had won 2 in a row, or 3 in a row rather, after starting the season off 1-4. Their season looked like it was dead in the water. They win 2 games in 5 days, and all of a sudden, things felt like it was turning around. They win last week in overtime in a dramatic win, and it kind of felt like things were trending in the right direction. And I remember saying this, and I don't remember if it was this season or was it last season. I think I said it this year. Feels like we've seen the Rams on primetime 4 times this year. We saw them in week 1 against Detroit. That was an overtime loss. We saw them in week number 7, I believe, when they beat the Vikings. And then we saw them tonight. I feel like there was another one in between the week 7 contest and the week 1 game against Detroit, but maybe not. But I felt like I said this before. I'm going to say it again. Matthew Stafford is old. And, there's a point where you get to in your career where you have to start having serious conversations with yourself as to what level can I play at? And is this an acceptable level for who I've been throughout my career? And I don't know if Stafford's at the point where he can't play at a high enough level where he can't help someone. I don't think we're at that point yet, like where Peyton Manning was at the end of his career when he won that Super Bowl. He couldn't help anybody. He barely made it to the finish line. There's certain points you get to in your career where you're like, you know what? Like Tom Brady could have still played football if he wanted to. But he had to ask himself, am I still the Tom Brady that I've been throughout the course of my career to where I don't tarnish my legacy that I've created for myself? Can I still play at a level that is respectable of the Tom Brady brand? Right? And I think he could have, but there was a chance he might not have been able to. And he said, you know what? Not worth taking that risk. I'm done. Right? I think Stafford has to start having that conversation with himself. He can't move, right? How many sacks did he run into tonight? Running backwards, where you got to say, Matthew, I know you see this blitzer unblocked. I know you understand you can't run away. This is not 2009. This isn't 2013 Matthew Stafford. Those legs don't move like they once did. You've got to stand and you've got to operate from the pocket. And if there's a free hitter coming, you got to know pre-snap that the free hitter is coming so you can get rid of the football. And if he sneaks up on you and you think you got a chance to run, you probably should just throw it. He took some back-breaking sacks tonight. Back-breaking sacks. And then the not seeing the running back underneath, when he threw that pass, I said, oh, he's got to be checking it down to Kyron Williams out of the backfield. This is the easy walk-in touchdown. And I see him throw it in the back of the end zone, and I go, what the hell was that? What are you doing, dude? He's like, I don't know. I just didn't want to get sacked again. I'm like, seriously? You haven't scored a touchdown all night, and that's the shit you do? And you know what else feels stale? Just a bit. Just a bit. And I don't want to seem like it's an overreaction. But Sean McVay's offense, does that not seem just a little stale to you? Maybe? No? Like, I never feel like I get tired of watching Kyle Shanahan's offense. Even though I know what's coming, I know how they're going to utilize their weapons, I know what they're going to try to get to, but it never feels old. Like, I watched Puka Nacua go in that same motion from in the slot out wide to create a wide bunch formation like 15 times tonight. I'm like, you don't have any other motions? No other shifts? Nothing else to spruce up the offense? It kind of feels a little stale. I don't know, maybe it's me. Anyway, to the victors go the spoils. Enough of them. Hey, how about the Dolphins getting their third win of the season and joining the likes of the New England Patriots and the New York Jets as 3-win teams, 5 full games back of the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. 3 cheers for the Miami Dolphins. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray for the Miami Dolphins to get to 3-6 on this season and only 5 games back of the Buffalo Bills in that division. My goodness. What a train wreck the AFC East is this season. It is the worst division in football by a mile. And although the Dolphins won the game tonight, there aren't many things you can walk away from this game feeling good about unless you're the Dolphins and you just say, shit, we won a game. Leave me alone and let me celebrate my victory. Fine. Go right ahead. But kicking 3 field goals and 2 touchdowns and having the turnovers you had tonight, you know what? The defense played well. Let's give the defense some credit. Holding the Rams to 3 of 12 on third downs. How many times did you sack Matthew Stafford tonight? Felt like you sacked him at least 6 times. That's the number I'm going to pick. 6. Let's see what that number was. 4. Felt more like 6. Felt like every time I looked up on a third down, they were getting pressure and Stafford was running backwards and then falling down and getting sacked 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. 3 of 12 for the Rams on third down. You sacked Stafford 4 times. You probably hit him another 4 or 5 times. You created, 2 turnovers. You picked off Stafford once. You forced a fumble of Kyron Williams. You held the Rams to 0 of 3, I believe, in the red zone. And I'm a big red zone statistical data guy. The 2 stats that I always look at when it comes to winning or losing a game: turnover battle and red zone efficiency. And if you want to add a third statistic in there that could, maybe swing the balance or the pendulum in one direction or the other, I go to third downs, right? Those are usually the telltale signs of victory and defeat. I need to go no further than the red zone defense that the Dolphins were able to execute tonight. The Rams were 0 for 3. They were 0 for in the red zone tonight. Had to settle for 5 field goals. My mantra, I've been saying this for over a decade now. Field goals don't win games. Touchdowns do. And hard to win a game when you don't score a field goal. Unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then maybe you can win a game 18-10 with 6 field goals. But if your name's the Los Angeles Rams, probably not going to work for you. Probably not going to work for you. So that's all to the Miami Dolphins. Playing good defense. Calais Campbell turned back the clock tonight. A couple of deflections. One ended up resulting in an interception, a sack or 2. as well to add to his ledger and his Hall of Fame career. Zach Sealer was back and in full effect, and he was wrecking shop, batting down balls. First play of the game, tackles, I think it might have been Kyron Williams. It might have been one of the receivers. I think it was Kyron Williams for like a 10 or 11, 12-yard loss on first down. To kind of set the tone for the night for what the Dolphins would be defensively in this game. And hats off to just the Dolphins defensively all around, getting it done tonight. They gave up some yards. The Rams moved it a little bit, but anytime they got into the red zone, they shut the faucet off. And that's a winning formula and recipe in this league when you can get stops in the red zone and force field goal attempts. Offensively, they're still not what we're accustomed to seeing. I thought early on they were in a little bit of a rhythm. Tua had made some things happen. I don't think he gets it. I don't think that young man gets it. Number one, why isn't he wearing a Guardian cap? Can anybody answer that for me? Why does he think it's okay to not wear a Guardian cap? Enlighten me there on that one, please. If there's one player in the league that should be wearing, now obviously it's not a mandated thing, it's optional. But if there's one player in the league that should be wearing a Guardian cap, it's Tua Tagovailoa. Anyhow, he throws an interception and he ducks his head to make a tackle. First of all, I don't want you anywhere near that tackle, buddy. You want to run past that guy, run past that defender, and as you run out of bounds and get in his way and slow him down, hey, be my guest. I don't want you anywhere near that tackle, my friend. And to take it a step further, this man gets down, ducks his head, and takes a knee to the dome. Now, he was very fortunate that it wasn't a super forceful knee and he didn't catch it right in the temple. We've seen many a guy go down and not get up with a concussion from taking a forceful knee to the dome. And this guy puts his dome right in knee dome territory. And he gets a piece of the knee to the head. Luckily enough for him, it wasn't a flush contact. If he had on the Guardian cap, that might have helped. But luckily enough for him, it was more of a grazing of the knee than it was a flush, full-on shot. Or we could have been watching this man taken off the field in a stretcher. What is he thinking? He can't like himself. He can't like himself or his NFL career all that much. Because you have to be in a position now where you're making conscious decisions. I get it, in the flow of a game, scramble, right? Pressure comes, you got to get out of there, and you take off running and your instincts kick in. But you consciously, you got to tell yourself, I got to slide before a guy even gets close. Unless it's like the end of the game type situation, we got to have this first down, or I got to dive for the pylon or something like that. If it's the first, second quarter, third quarter, I got to slide. And I need to do it way before a defender gets even remotely close to me, because I don't want one of those bang, bang, I'm sliding, he's diving, he hits me, head hits the turf, because that's game over. God bless and good night for Tua. So that's a conscious decision that he has to make moving forward. I think the same could be said for interceptions and things of that nature. Get out of the way, bro. That is not your fight. That is not your fight. Anyhow, I thought he looked good on that first possession. Made something happen with his legs, extended the play, drove him right down the field, got in the end zone. And I thought they were on another move, right? And then Waddle drops the ball on the third down. And it felt like after that drop, they were really never truly in sync again until the final touchdown drive. Now, they scored on every drive in the second half, most of them resulting in field goals. But it never felt like he had that rhythm that he was in early in the game. And some of that credit needs to go to the Rams defense, Jared Verse and Young and Kobe Turner and all of those guys in there creating havoc. But for some reason, they just can't get on the same page. We're not seeing explosive plays to Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle has not been the explosive dynamic, weapon that we're accustomed to seeing. The run game can't get out of there. They're close, but they're just not hitting that big play. They were a walking big play. They were a machine last year. They're just not that team anymore offensively. Can't quite put my finger on why that is. Now that Tua's back, you would expect them, and they've been more functional, obviously, but they were hideous on offense, which is why they're dead last in points per game this season, because they were absolutely putrid without him. But since he's been back these last 3 weeks, you would expect them to be starting to get back to some explosive plays and be a little bit more dynamic, and we just really haven't seen that. So they just might not be that team this year, and maybe next year they can get back to being the efficient, dynamic offense that they were a season ago. But and maybe it'll happen at some point this season, right? But it just doesn't feel. It feels like that ship might have sailed for this year. I don't know. We'll see. But they got it done tonight, and there was something else I wanted to say before we got to the comment section. I can't think of what it is. Must not be important. Anyway, their season is done, though. The Dolphins. You're not gonna make a run at the wild card. You're clearly not gonna win your division, and so I think they're kind of in no man's land because you don't need a quarterback, but I don't think they were going to lose enough games to qualify for that anyway. You look at there's some bad teams in the league this year, man. I mean, I know they're amongst them right now, but when it's all said and done, they won't be around the likes of the Giants and the Panthers and the Patriots and the Titans and the Browns and the Raiders. Like, there's a lot of bad teams. It's a lot of bad football being played around this league. And when it's all said and done, I don't think they're going to be amongst that group. And so it'd be interesting to see what they end up doing this season, how they end up finishing up, and where they ultimately land from a draft perspective. That's what I was going to say. The young edge rushers on both sides, I think I was going to bring that up. I don't know if that's what I was thinking about, but good to see the young edge rushers getting home. Chop Robinson had a sack early in the game. I remember what I was going to say. I'll get to it in a second. I won't forget. And Jared Verse getting to a couple of times, forcing a fumble, recovering a fumble. He was dynamic tonight as well. Good to see that. Good to see the young fellas getting work and being a part of the action. Here's something that bothers me, and I fancy myself as a smart football fan, right? But I don't get paid to scheme up defenses and call offensive plays. Leave that to the professionals. I'm an armchair, analyst, if you will. Fanalist is a better term I like to go with. Fanalist. Tua's left-handed, right? So let me say that so it's a lot clearer, so there's no confusion. Tua's left-handed, correct? It's a question, by the way. So on the most critical down of the game, are you going to send pressure flushing him left to his strong side where he can still get off a throw on the move, or are you going to flush him right where he's got to stop, turn, reposition his body, or throw across his body and be a lot less accurate with the football? Which option are you going to choose? That's a tricky one. Let me put on my thinking cap. I think I'm gonna flush him. I think I'm gonna flush him left. I'm gonna give him some pressure. I'm gonna run a twist that comes from the right, and I'm gonna allow him to get out to his left, his strong side, so he can find Odell Beckham Jr. on the biggest third down of the game. Isn't that cute? But it's wrong. Some of these defensive coordinators and some of these coaches, they are absolutely clueless in the most critical junctures of the game. And I, for the life of me, can't understand how this is possible. To me, this is malpractice. Watching Amon-Ra St. Brown get one-on-one essentially with a linebacker with the game on the line last night was comical, and it is malpractice. Watching Tua Tagovailoa have easy access to his left because you took the defensive end that was on the left side of the field and you stunted him inside and you sent a defensive tackle on a loop around, but not a wide one, to get back outside to influence him, to keep him in the pocket, but really just to try to come around nice and tight, giving Tua the outside to the left so he could get outside the pocket, extend, and then find Odell Beckham Jr. Shame on you if you step to the old dirty backup. I'll never understand how in the most critical, crucial junctures of the game, you can have a mental lapse as a coordinator like that. I'll never understand it. The best of the best don't do that. I can tell you right now, the Kansas City Chiefs aren't going to allow Tua Tagovailoa to his left on the most critical third down of the game. He's not going to do it. That pressure is coming from his left side. He's got a flush right. And guess what? He ain't getting it off. And if he does, it ain't going to be accurate. Steve Spagnuolo ain't going to let it happen. I damn sure know Steve Spagnuolo ain't going to allow Amon-Ra St. Brown to be covered by a damn linebacker on the most critical third down of the game. Like, I know for a fact Steve Spagnuolo isn't going to allow Jamar Chase to have 200 yards when T. Higgins isn't in the lineup. These things boggle the mind. I am so baffled at how it is this hard to do the simplest of tasks as a defensive coordinator. I am just befuddled at how it is so hard to take away a guy when there are no other receivers. Even if I have to come to the line of scrimmage and I have to put two defenders on this one guy, he is not going to be the reason that I lose this game. On a third down, I am not letting the other team's best receiver have one-on-one with my linebacker. I'm not going to do it. And with the game on the line, I am not letting a left-handed quarterback roll out to his left. Anyway, I digress. Big win for the Dolphins. Snaps a nasty 4-game losing streak I believe they were on. Gets them back into the left-hand column. For the Rams, I think this is as debilitating a loss as it gets. You fought all this way back. Like, this is the equivalent. I always use this analogy because I always think it's an apt analogy. This is the equivalent of being down 22 points to start the fourth quarter of an NBA game. You make this furious run. You tie the game up with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter, only to lose the game by 12 points. You run out of gas. You can't make a bucket. You can't get a stop. And you ultimately lose the game by 12. You were 1-4 this season. You scratched. You clawed. You beat some really tough opponents, went to some tough environments, found ways to get it done. And then you let the hapless Miami Dolphins come into your house after you won 3 straight. to get back to 500 on the season at 4-4. You did all of that work to put yourself in a position to try and win this division, stay close and connected to the Rams or to the Cardinals, who have already stomped a mud hole in your ass once this season. But you say to yourself, hey, they got to come back here at some point. Let's just stay close. And you let the damn Dolphins come in, snap their loser streak, and beat you and send you back under 500. I think this is the beginning of the end of the Rams. Now, I've always said never count out Sean McVay, so I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is I'm going to put an asterisk next to these Rams because I don't think they're good enough to make the playoffs. I've said this already. The NFC West right now, as it stands, feels like a one-bid division. Whomever wins the division is getting in and no one else. Now, again, if the Cardinals keep playing the way that they're playing and the 49ers get their shit together, which right now I can't really say that that's going to take place because they look like shit right now, do the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan is frustrated. Their field goal kicker is inconsistent. They're not consistent on offense. They're not finishing drives. That's been a problem all season. And I just don't know if Christian McCaffrey is going to be able to fix what's broken with this offense. It just kind of feels like it is what it is. And there's no replacing Brandon Ayuk, although I like Ricky Pearsall. I think he even got hurt in the game against Tampa Bay. Hopefully I'm wrong about that. But I like him, but he's not ready to fill the Brandon Ayuk role, which is the whole reason they wanted Ayuk back for at least this season, because they know what kind of an impact he has, and Ricky Pearsall isn't ready to pick up and carry that type of load. I just don't trust the 49ers. So in a division that is as wide open can be, you had an opportunity to get over 500, stay connected to the Cardinals, and put yourself within striking distance, stay connected to the 49ers, be right in that mix, and you blew it. That's a tough way to go out, but I've said this about the Rams. They just feel off to me. They just do. The offense doesn't feel crisp. It doesn't feel dynamic. It feels a lot like there was a season in there. The Rams went to the Super Bowl in 2017. Was it 17? 18, 2018. Rams went to Super Bowl 2018. I want to say it was either 2019, the next year that they went. It was 19 because it was a Super Bowl hangover. You know, the team that loses in the Super Bowl usually has a hangover, right, of some sort. So it was that next year where McVay's offense just seemed off. And it wasn't enough pre-snap shifts and motions. Teams seemed to have caught up with it or whatever. And they just weren't as effective. This is what it kind of feels like right now. Right? You know, and it feels like, yeah, they'll get the occasional 15-yard play here, 17-yard play there. But for the most part, Kyren Williams runs. If he's not super successful, and I've talked about this before with them, when they're at their best, Kyren Williams has to be super effective. Excuse me. If he's not effective, their offense just doesn't work. Because so much of what they do is predicated on run action fake and sucking up those linebackers and getting those intermediate routes in behind them, right? So much of what they do is predicated on the defense reacting to run. Well, there's nothing to react to if you're not having success, which they didn't tonight, and it felt like it made everything tight and condensed, and then Stafford wasn't seeing the field well. Then they started sending pressures, and it felt like he was seeing ghosts, and it just spiraled on them. But again, I digress. Let's get to Inside the Odds, brought to you by Bet US.
Inside the Odds.
Looking for a new book? BetUS has you covered. Fastest payouts in the industry. Get back up to 10% on your net losses twice a year as long as you're active within the last 6-month period. And here's the big kicker for new users. Use the promo code YouTube150 to get you 150% of sign-up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 and 125% on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. When you use the promo code YouTube150, be sure to bet responsibly. Only bet what you can afford to lose. And do not, I repeat, do not chase your losses. It is a dangerous and very slippery slope. However, if you're going to bet with the best, and that is the BetUS. So, over under total for this game, 49.5. Looks like Vegas thought some points were going to be scored in this one. Boy, were they wrong. 38 total points scored in this game, 23-15 final. So the under was the play here. I don't know why they thought so many points were going to be scored here. The Dolphins have not been, and I get it, their points per game total totally skewed and marred by Tua Tagovailoa and his absence out of the lineup, but it's not like they've been lighting the world on fire since he's returned to the lineup either. They did score some points last week in their loss to Buffalo, and the Rams can score, but it's not like their offense has been electrifying either. I really didn't understand the number being this high. I didn't think the number would be this high. I thought the number would be somewhere around 44.5 or something like that, not 49.5. But obviously the under was the play. And the Rams were 2-point favorites in this game, which Vegas was telling you this was a tricky one because generally when you're at home, you get 3 points. Being at home is good for a 3-point advantage. And only being a 2-point favorite usually tells you, not really sure if you're going to win this game or not. So I thought the Dolphins had a chance to win this game. But this wasn't a game I was willing to go out on a limb by myself to try and go get a dub. Not like yesterday's game, which obviously didn't work in my favor, but I wasn't willing to take this one on the chin by myself. And so tough break for the Rams. I think this is the beginning of the end of their season. And I think Sean McVay needs to seriously and I don't know if he built, that's another question with McVay. I don't know if he's built to coach a young quarterback. I don't know if he has the patience for it. I think he wants a veteran, someone that understands NFL offense, someone that can come in and run his system. And I'm not pushing Stafford out the door yet, but, I was advocating for Stafford to think about hanging it up last year, and he proved me wrong last year. But there were moments last year where I questioned, could he still do it? I still question this year if he still got it in him. I don't know if Sean McVay, remember we heard him, throwing around the retirement, word, a couple years back. I don't know if he's built for starting over, getting a young quarterback, trying to build him up from the ground. Some guys aren't built for that. So I don't know. That's something to keep in mind. But let's get to some of these specials, these Monday specials brought to you by BetUS. I love the specials on BetUS, whether it's a Thursday special, Monday special, whatever the case may be. Matthew Stafford and Tua Tagovailoa pass yards combined. So you have 3 different options to choose from: 550, 650, or 600. I don't even think I need to look. Don't feel like either one of these guys lit up the passing numbers in this game. But being at 550, all you have to do is have both quarterbacks hit 275. I think it's worth looking. I don't know if Stafford even had 200 yards passing tonight. I mean, he wasn't very good. So I'm going to just check just for the sake of checking. Stafford. So Tua barely made it. I'm going to say this. Stafford had to have more than Tua had. I thought Tua had more than 207 yards. Stafford at 293. So 500 total between the two of them. Stafford at 293 and Tua at 207. I knew they didn't get to 550 though, but they were a lot closer than I thought. I'll just say that. A lot closer than I thought they were. That's for damn sure. So they didn't hit any of those. Devin Achane and Kyron Williams combined for 200. I'm not sure either of them even crossed 60. Okay, Kyron Williams, 15 carries, 62 yards, barely made it. And Achane, 12 carries, 37 yards. I didn't think anybody really did anything. Like I said, this was a snooze fest. This was one of those games where only the two teams of the only the two fan bases of the teams playing in the game could get any enjoyment out of this. And even then, it'd be a stretch because it was a boring game. I'm not even gonna hold you. This was one of those for the love of the game watches. For the love of the game. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, 200 yards receiving between the two of them. I thought this was realistic going in. I don't think these two combined for more than 125 apiece, or 125 total together. Let's check and see. Wrong again. Puka Nacua didn't feel like he had almost 100 yards. 9 catches, 98 yards. And then Cooper Kupp, 7 for 80. So they just fell short by 22 yards of 200. Didn't feel like it. I ain't even going to hold you. Didn't feel like it. Puka Nacua, 50 yards receiving in each half. Now, that I can't be certain of if he hit 50 in either half. Because he's got 98 yards. So you know he didn't hit 50 in both halves, which is what you need to win. But in order for him to not have had 50 in one of the halves, he would have literally had to split this 98 down the middle at 49 and 49. The likelihood of that, slim and none. So I'm going to assume that one of these halves, he had 50 yards receiving and didn't have it in the other. But so last week when we did this, I think there were I had 7 specials and 5 of them hit. This week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 specials and none of them hit. None of them hit. So that was the type of game it was. Big shout out to BetUS. So let's get to the comment section. See what you guys have to say. All right. And if you're out there, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air if it is pertinent. We'll get to as many comments as we can. I'm going to be honest with you. This game didn't produce a ton of excitement, so I don't feel the need to keep you here that much longer than I need to. So we'll get to a couple of comments, but if you want to ensure that your comment is read, super chats are the way to do that. I wonder what the rest of the Monday night slate looks like, because next week's game, they're not going to flex it out. It's the Cowboys. The Texans are cool, but this is all about Dallas. Even in their dysfunction, it's must-see TV, because even though they're a dumpster fire, people want to watch the dumpster fire. They want to see this thing continue to burn and burn bright, right? So they're not going to get, like, even if they spend, the Texans are the team that's good in this game, and they should spend most of the night talking about the Texans and what they need to do to get back on track. More likely than not, they'll have Nico Collins back. I don't know if they'll have Will Anderson back. Doesn't feel like he'll be back next week. I think he might need one more week before he might be back. But Nico Collins, I feel like he will be back next week. And they should be talking about the Texans now with Nico back and Tank playing well and some of the other guys that had to step up in his absence, getting more reps. Maybe they'll be able to help as they move forward. They should be talking about the Texans, but you know they're going to be talking. Troy's there. They're going to talk about Dallas and the dysfunction and what needs to be done. And they're going to spend most of the night doing that. And I can't wait to watch it because no one feels sorry for them. And more likely than not, Houston's going to wipe the floor with them, beat them to a pulp. And I'm here for all of it. So, but these Monday night games, they got a chance to be pretty awful down the stretch. Some of these games that they thought were going to be good because the teams they thought were going to be good. I think you can flex Monday night games now, though. I think that's a new thing this year. You can flex Monday night games. I think. I'm not sure about that. I would assume that if you're going to do that, you would have to do it way in advance so that the team can prepare for that. I wonder if they're going to do that this year or not, because I got a feeling there's some nasty ones left. Anything involving the Jets, got to get it out of there. We might be done with them, though. Anything with Dallas, you got to get them out of there, right? I like this Texas game. Do you know how loaded week 11 is? What? I think Bills Chiefs are in week 11, I think. Ravens Steelers, that's for first place. Commanders Eagles, that's for first place. That's already on primetime, though, so you can't touch that one. But and I haven't looked at the whole slate. Those are just three that come to mind. Like, there's some bangers in week 11, if I'm not mistaken. And you're giving me Texans and Cowboys. Yikes. That's rough. I'm going to say that. That is rough. Anyhow. Kevin the PRF says, well, hope the Rams weren't too upsetting tonight. No, they weren't. I don't get upset about losses that everyone takes. For the most part, I'm pretty sure that some people pick the Dolphins. But I went rogue last night, and I needed that one bad because the week already wasn't going well. And normally so I told you guys I'm super competitive. So last night was me being a sore loser because generally you get that reaction out of me when I realize that the end is near. I don't know how bad others around me did. I just felt how bad I did. And that one, I needed that one to save face and stay connected, and I didn't get it. And it wasn't just the fact that I lost. It was in the manner in which I lost. I went from thinking Nico Collins was going to play, so I picked Houston with their new jerseys on, their alternate reds. So I was like, you got the jerseys popping, you got Nico back. The Lions are due for a loss. They're due for a cruddy performance. Then I find out pregame, like literally I turn on the television and I see Nico in street clothes. This is the first time I learned of him not playing in this game. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So now I expect them to lose. Then I go from expecting them to lose to them coming out and kicking Detroit's ass for the first 30 minutes. It is 23-7, and they're dominating. I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to win this game. I feel like a damn genius. I needed this. And then to slowly watch this thing be ripped from my damn fingers and to have it be done in excruciating fashion like it was, I wasn't in the mood for that shit yesterday. And in my mind, I'm like, you just lost $2,200. That's how big of a game that was, because you can't afford to lose games. When you go rogue, you better be right. I went rogue. Nobody else really picked the Texans, except for the dodos that are already 12, 13, 14, 15 games back that aren't anywhere close. Those people that are just throwing darts at the board. I'm in the mix. I went rogue. You better be right. I went rogue 3 weeks ago on Thursday night with the Vikings versus the Rams, and I cashed in. You go rogue, you better be right. And they made me feel like I was right, only to shit on me and make me wrong. Boy, that one hurt. Because that one said, you're not winning this money, bro. You're not getting a championship strap. You're not getting the bragging rights. And that's a hard, bitter pill for me to swallow. So when I came to that realization last night, and we still got time, but it's getting late early. And I knew that. That's what evoked that emotion for me yesterday was you effing Texans. You get on my damn nerves. Samuel S. says, did you see somebody get blinded by the lights tonight? And Joe said, at least it wasn't the sun. And Troy said, let's not go there. Troy is definitely scared of Jerry. Look, man, that's his boy. Don't get it twisted. Don't you ever bite the hand that feeds you. Understand what Jerry Jones is in this league. Jerry Jones controls a lot of shit. A lot of people aren't happy about Jerry getting into the Hall of Fame. There are other contributors that have had way more impact on the league than Jerry Jones. And not to diminish what Jerry has done. Jerry is largely responsible for the growth of the NFL from a financial standpoint, from sponsorships and things of that nature. But make no mistake about it, Jerry probably wields the most power of any NFL owner. If you're Troy Aikman, that's your boy, right? That's the guy that you played for many years, won Super Bowls for. That's your guy. He takes care of you. You take care of him. Probably don't want to piss him off. Good idea. You heard what Jerry told the radio show host. I'll get somebody else to ask me those questions. You can get somebody else to call them games with Joe Buck. You better not piss Jerry off. So I wouldn't want to piss him off and get on his bad side either. Let's see. Ray Riz says, although the safety was missed in our game, do you think we should have allowed one to flip the field position in our favor? They scored after we. No, I don't. I'm never one to give up the free safety unless it's at the end of a game where only a touchdown beats you and punting the football doesn't make sense. Because we had been able to keep them largely out of the end zone. I would have taken my chances with the way the defense had been playing. I understand where you're coming from, but there was still enough time left in the game that taking a safety and then punting to them, they could have still went down and scored a touchdown just like they did. And now, instead of you being able to win the game with a field goal, if you take the safety and then you give them the football and then they score another touchdown, you've taken effectively a 6-point lead and turned it into a 3-point deficit. And now a field goal only ties the game. Like that, you much rather be in a position. And furthermore, you punting the ball, they got good field position, as you mentioned, but you punting the ball there, it doesn't necessarily ensure that you're going to get it back, but there's a strong possibility that you're going to get the ball back with a chance to win the game. With a full complement of timeouts, everything that you need, you're going to have the chance. And we had a chance. We had the ball back with just under 3 minutes to go, all 3 timeouts. We were in business. So I don't think you give them anything in that situation. You just play it out. Unfortunately, didn't work in our favor. I want the ball in the hands of the offense at the end, no matter what. Whether we're trailing, the game's tied, or we're winning and we need to preserve it, I want the ball in the offense's hands. Never want the defense on the field to do anything. Preserve the game, get the stop to get us back the ball in a tie game, or get the stop to get us back the ball in a game that we're losing so we have a shot. And I'd have zero confidence in the defense's ability in that situation. So them being closer to the end zone. If they're going to score, then I would much rather them be closer so that they score in enough time that we still get the ball back with a chance to go down and do something about it, which we did. We had a chance. Ray Riz says, I wish we would have went for 2 after our last touchdown. However, I know it wasn't necessary because we were up 10, but knowing what we know now, that 1 point was critical. You can't play that game. Yeah, you can't play that game. Can't go chasing points. The fact of the matter is, get a stop. How about you don't stop scoring at 27 after you had 24 after the first possession of the third quarter? Like, keep scoring, So you don't want to go chasing points. Just don't stop scoring them. It almost felt like we were allergic to scoring there for a large part of the second half. Kevin the PRS says, with the finale in the books, where are we ranking Colin Farrell's Penguin among Batman live action villains? I have not watched the rest, so do not spoil it for me. He's pretty high on the damn list, though. My goodness, he killed it, or he has been killing it for me. You've seen all of it, so you can use it in past tense. He killed it for me. He is killing it as Penguin, and so he's pretty high on the damn list, man. Pretty damn high. There've been some good ones though. I'd say he's top 3. I'd put him somewhere in that top 3 range. J Mart writes, do you think Joe Witt made the correct call on the 3rd and 9? He left the worst cover corner on the. Yeah, I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets. He was off 10 yards, and the one thing that he couldn't do, he did. Like, he literally played with leverage to stay on top. Like, when you play off that far, you're conceding that, hey, you can have anything you want underneath. I'll drive on it, make a play, but you're not getting on top of me. That's literally the position he was in, and he still let them, because he in his mind thought he was going to make a play. They're going to run something to the sticks, and I'm going to jump it, and he was flat-footed and got run by. He guessed wrong. He said after the game, I had too much in my head, and I tried to do too much, and I should have just kept the receiver in front of me and not let him get on top of me. And that was my fault. We've been talking about Russell Wilson throwing the deep ball all week long. They went out and got this guy for this exact reason, and I let him do the thing that we couldn't let him do. That's on me. And so, but that's the story of Benjamin St-Juste. Like, as a defensive coordinator, you can't be scared. Can't be scared. We did that against the Giants last week, and look what it got us. We were scared. We played scared. We didn't want to bring the second safety up, or we didn't want to bring the safety out of the too high shell. We let them run all over us, and then look what happened. We stayed in too high, and we still got a seam ball for a touchdown thrown on us. We still gave up plays. So at some point, you just got to say, all right, we're putting you in a position where you don't give up the touchdown. You give up a first down, fine. Give us another chance to defend the end zone, and let's see what happens. But can't give it up on. And I went back and watched that play, and Russ was under duress. Russ was fading back to his left, and he just flung it up there. There was pressure on the play. Just don't get beat over the top, my guy. And he did. No, I don't have any issues with Joe Witt making that call. I agree, Kevin, the PRF. Heath Ledger as the Joker is one. That's why I said put him top 3. That put him top 3. I think I put him 3rd. Kevin, I can already imagine Mahomes running around for 8 seconds against the Lions. Nobody edges or throws against Terrion grabbing ass, those PIs all day. Man, Terrion is awful. What did I tell y'all when he was coming out of Alabama? He's mid, he's grabby, he gets beat all the time. What did I tell y'all about him? There are 2 positions that I feel really confident. Three positions I feel really confident identifying talent at, in particular. Corners, receivers, and edge rushers. Everything else feels like a crapshoot to me. Those 3 positions, I feel really confident. And running backs. I feel good about my running backs analysis too. Usually you can see it with running backs. I was a big David Montgomery fan. I was a big Alvin Kamara fan. Those guys have done all right for themselves in the NFL, I would say. And there are a slew of other running backs that I was really high on, but I digress. Terrion Arnold is awful. And it is what it is. Maybe he'll end up working out. Joe Rockhead, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Joe Rockhead, thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Juice and a Madieu Williams moment. Yeah. That the Madieu Williams one was worse though. Madieu and Josh Wilson. I'm assuming you're referring to the 2012 Giants Victor Cruz touchdown after we just scored with Santana Moss. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. But yeah, that one was worse because that one was 80. That was the first play after we just scored. Like, we didn't even get to enjoy being up. Like, immediately thereafter, Eli struck with Victor Cruz. At least this one, we thought we had a chance to get a stop. And then Juice ripped all hope away from us. But yes, I get it. Let's see. Don returned. How do you think the team is going to respond after losing in heartbreak? I think they're going to be fine. I talked about it today on CNN. I think they're going to be just fine. Feel good about it, actually. Steel City says, going to be honest, Lou, I thought we were for sure losing when we gave y'all the ball back down 1. I did too. There was no doubt in my mind that we were going to win the game. And we had opportunities, We had opportunities. Noah Brown didn't catch that pass up the sideline. Could have been a better ball from Jaden, but it was there, right? And then I thought that was a first down. I thought that was a really bad job of them, kind of figuring out how they wanted to go about it. It's a poor spot by the official initially, and then for them to double down on the poor spot was egregious. And even after that, if we don't jump off sides, you're not snapping that ball and you punt it to us, I still thought he was going to take us down the field and win the game. That's how much confidence I have in Jaden Daniels. And it just sucks that we didn't get the opportunity. And I can tell that they weren't going to snap the ball by their reaction of him jumping off sides. Because even though if you were going to snap it and you got to jump off sides, you would have been excited like that. There's a different level of excitement when there was no intent to snap the ball and you got him to jump, right? There's 2, like, I know what the body language looks like when we were going to snap it and you cut us a break versus we had no intentions of snapping it and we got him. Yes, That's what that was. They weren't going to snap that football. And we know Mike Tomlin's conservative. He was going to punt that thing and ask his defense to get one more stop. And I think we were going to go down and get in the field. Now, would we have made it with Zane Gonzalez at kicker? I can't say if we would have made it or not, but I sure as hell would have loved to have seen us be in that situation. We've been the best 2-minute offense in the NFL this year. You should know we scored on you guys right before the half. That's what we do. You put us in a 2-minute situation and we're deadly. We're going to get some points. We're going to get some points. So I would have loved to have seen, even if y'all would have pinned us at the 3-yard line, he was going to get us to the 40, to the 37 to 40 and gave us a shot. I don't know if it would have been made or not, but as Mike Tomlin eloquently put it, I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know. All talk all the time. Says, look at our guy, Louie. Scary number 3 in the league in receiving, only trailing Chase and Jefferson. I'm happy for him, but we'll see if he can keep it up. I'm excited. I already said I think he's going to be over 1,300 yards. This is going to be a career year across the board for him. Only thing he won't have a career high in is catches, but the average is going to go sky high this year, right? In past years, high volume amount of catches, but for a low amount of yards per catch. Last year, he just crept over a G. I think he had like 75, 80 catches, whatever. He probably averaged like 12 yards a catch last year, which is nothing at the receiver position. 11, 12 yards a catch, something like that. 11.6 or 7, something like that. This year, he going to mess around and average like 17.5 yards per catch because he's making big plays. He had 4 catches yesterday for 113 yards. He had 5 catches for 125 the week before that. Or 2 weeks, before that. In the Bears game. So he's killing it on in terms of average. So he may not hit the 75 catch threshold. Where is he at? Speaking of which, it's actually a good question. Where is he? Terry McLaurin is at 47 catches with 7 games to go. Can he get 30 more catches in 7 games? He'd have to average a shade over 4 catches a game. One would like to think he can do that, but there's so many of these games where he's got 2 catches, 3 catches, 4 catches. I'm not comfortable with saying that he's going to end up with 77 catches on the season, but I'd like to think that he will. I just want him to keep the streak intact. He's one of, I think, 4 players in the NFL that has at least 75 catches, or is either 70 or 75 catches, and over 1,000 yards each of the last 4 years. One of 4 guys. Stephon Diggs was on that list. He's not going to be on that list after this year because obviously he's hurt for the season, so he's not going to make it. Devontae Adams is on that list. I don't think he's going to make it between missing time with Vegas and how bad the Jets stink. I don't think he's going to make it, so he's going to be off the list. And then the other guy is Justin Jefferson. And I don't know if Justin is on that list. It might be somebody else because Justin got hurt last year. He made it to 1,000, but I don't think he made it to 75 catches. So what I'm trying to tell you is he could be on that list by himself. is essentially what I'm getting at. He could be on that list all by his lonesome, which would make me smile very much. Let me check Justin real quick, because it was 4 dudes. I know Diggs. It was Terry, Diggs, and Devontae. And then I think it was one more player, and I want to say it was Justin Jefferson. But I don't think he had 70 catches last year. But, he does a lot of damage very quickly. So there's a chance that he still had it, even though he didn't play very many games last season. Let's see. Yeah, he had 68 last year. So no, he didn't make it from that standpoint. So it's got to be some other receiver. I can't tell you who it is though. But I digress. All right. Ebad Shameen writes, it's looking increasingly like Lattimore doesn't play Thursday. Did I not already tell you that last week? Feel uncomfortable with the secondary for this matchup, honestly. If you were uncomfortable with this matchup a week ago, then you're still uncomfortable with it. I'm not uncomfortable with it because I thought we could beat the Eagles with or without Marshawn Lattimore. Do we have a better chance of beating them with him? Absolutely. But guess what? We got the number 6 pass defense in the NFL. And I'm not telling you it's great. I'm just telling you it ain't as bad as everyone wants to make it out to be. That's what I'm telling you. And I like the fact that we're playing a team that we know. I like the fact that we have a defensive staff that knows the team that we're playing, whether it's a new coordinator calling the plays or not. He still knows Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and that group. He still knows Saquon, even though he's with a different team and he's a different animal because he's behind a different offensive line. But we know all of the characters. All right? We know all of the characters in this movie. Now we just got to play our part. I'm not any more nervous than I was a week ago before I knew we were trading for Marshawn Lattimore. You can't miss something you've never had. I've been pretty much trying to explain it to you guys. Don't start acting like we can't survive without Marshawn Lattimore. We've never had him. We don't know what it looks like. I know what it does look like with Benjamin St. Juste, Noah Iguanagany, and Mike Sainristil. And I think it's good enough to win if we play the game offensively the way that I know we're capable of. I think it'll be good enough. But we got to play the game that we're capable of playing offensively. Ray Riz, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, did you see LB talking grimy, calling you us out and then some? Pissed me off. I really hope we take care of them boys on Thursday. Nah, I didn't see it. I didn't see it at all. I mean, that stuff doesn't bother me at all. That's what we do. We talk shit. I didn't see it, but if he got something to say, you know how I do. I'm gonna say it to your face. So I'm gonna see him before the game, and anything he got to say, I'll be there. It's easy to talk trash when there's nobody else there. I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be there on Wednesday. Say it then. Say it with your chest. Because you know I got some shit to say back. They don't want to hear what I got to say, though. They don't want to hear what I got to say. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Monday Night Football Overtime. Dolphins snapped their 4-game skid, I believe it was. Get their 3rd win of the season. And in the process, snapped the Rams' 3-game win streak and send the Rams back under 500 at 4-5 with a 23-15 victory. And if you're the Rams, this is a demoralizing loss. Just of all the games that you've pulled out here of late, and of all the opponents you've played, this was the one that seemed the most beatable, and somehow you managed to screw the pooch on this one. Feels like a lot of the work that you've just done, I don't want to say has gone in vain, because still a lot of football left to be played. And we saw the Rams right around this time of the season last year get extremely hot, win 7 out of their final 8 games, and make it to the playoffs. And once you get into the tournament, anything, and I mean anything, is possible. So don't want to count out Sean McVay. I told you that's a dangerous thing to do. But this one feels a little off. This season feels a little off. And this offense, more importantly, I actually think the defense isn't half bad. The offense feels off. But we'll see. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Monday Night Football, overtime. Big shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this stream. Looking for a new book? BetUS has you covered. Go to betus.com. Use the promo code YouTube150 to get you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit of up to $2,000 and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. YouTube 150 is the promo code. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I will see you guys next time. God bless. Good night.